Kirsten, you are being reassigned, Alpha said, standing up at the head of the table in the conference room. Alpha, the chief of Kirsten's FBI unit, was a huge and 6 feet tall man. He had tribal tattoos all down his arms that were visible with his black short-sleeved uniform and button-down shirt. Alpha also had dark skin and big brown eyes. I stood up from my seat and walked to the front of the conference room. I could feel the stares of my coworkers prick the hairs on the back of my neck up like needles. The room had one long, rectangular dark wood table in it. The wall facing the hallway of the National Data Libraries was bulletproof glass. The data compound was in the shape of a 12-sided dodecagon. Offices and conference rooms were around the perimeter of the building. When I reached the front of the room, Alpha handed me a small black box and told me not to open it until I was at my office. I thought this was a bit odd, but I took the box and gathered my things as the meeting dismissed. Returning to my office, I shut the door and sat down at my desk to open the box. I gently lifted the lid and pulled out the instructions written in invisible ink. I set them aside. There was a watch underneath the note. The watch band was made with a comfortable black silicone, and the watch face was a square, but it looked like a normal watch. Confused, I unlocked my desk drawer and rummaged through it to find my blacklight pen. Clicking on the pen from the top, I started to read the message. Agent Esperson, we have assigned you to a new mission. You will be using this watch to find any citizens who are missing citizenship files within the United States. The watch is activated only by your telepathy. We have inserted the virtual reality overlay disk loaded with all the files of the U.S. citizenship database. Good luck. Alpha Allred, head of the data libraries. P.S. I believe that you are the perfect person for this mission, and I have chosen you for this mission to remain under classification between you, the National FBI, and myself. You never let us down, Agent Esperson. I lifted the watch from the box and put it on. Activate data chip, I thought. Sure enough, the watch powered on, and the overlay came up as if part of my normal field of vision, but I could see the green band across the top of my vision field saying that the citizenship data chip was active. Ready or not, I had a duty to be an alien hunter. I felt queasy at the job I had to do. Delaying this duty could result in cruel punishment. I grabbed my keys from the desk. They jingled a little as I clipped them to my belt. I felt adrenaline rush through me. It was time for something to change, but how could I change the government alone? I couldn't. I knew that for a fact. The law had been passed. All unregistered aliens were to be arrested for further analysis and questioning. It made me uneasy to know that these aliens, for the most part, were probably innocent and misunderstood in the world like I was. Even though I am native and human and Earth is my home, my own kind has fallen mostly silent with me now. It wasn't always this way. There was a time years ago when I was socially engaged in what you would call an extrovert. Then things really changed when our mobile devices could transmit memories and telepathic thoughts. Our physical face-to-face interactions suffered. Unfortunately, my amniverted soul suffered with the death of our old school interactions. I passed my friend Audrey on the platform, walking towards the double glass doors to enter the data storage floor. I smiled and waved, trying to conceal my nerves. Her file came up to the side of her saying, Audrey Wood, Agent in Alpha's FBI NDL Guardianship Unit, natural citizen, registered at birth. Good, I breathed. You're safe from arrest. I scanned my hand, and the double glass doors opened with a ding for approval of entrance. After you, Audrey, I said, motioning for her to enter first. Thanks, Kirsten. Very kind of you, she replied as I entered behind her. 10 at night and the day couldn't get better. Funny to think that our day starts when most days end to the rest of the city. Yeah, it's fun though. Sunset to sunrise, off just in time for breakfast at the cafe. You're coming this morning, aren't you? I asked Audrey. Yep, I heard Reeve is going to be revealing his long awaited surprise to you, she continued just before we had to split off for our separate stations. Audrey was one of my friends who really understood life as an FBI agent. There was a lot I couldn't tell others about my profession. Even having Audrey as my very good friend, work almost became a monotone symphony to me. It was a necessity, but almost an interruption to my true creative power. I believed against the FBI values the more I worked under them, but without being able to find work in the city, stayed under a system that contradicted who I really was. I'm not a person who likes to cause havoc in someone else's life. We have enough of that as it is. After work, I got into my favorite teal lace dress and slipped on my heels. Reeve said to dress nice, so I almost wondered if he was going to treat me for my birthday. No, that wasn't for another month. Was he going to take me to meet his siblings? I wondered. No, it's Friday. They're in school. I felt my heart beat faster. A little nerve, a little excitement. I stopped for a moment to watch the sunrise out of our huge glass windows in the apartment. These quiet moments of meditation or thought, no one seemed to understand now, but it was in these moments that my best ideas arose. My roommates were still asleep. The sunrise spread a beautiful orange glow, gradually awaking the city. Quietly, I slipped out of the door of our apartment again and started walking down the hall and down the staircase out onto the sidewalk. The morning air was a little chilly, but not cold enough to justify bringing a jacket with me. The cafe was only 2 blocks from our apartment complex. Traffic was moderate this morning. Usually wasn't too bad this early, but it was still faster to walk to the cafe. Our reservation was made for 5:15 a.m. at our favorite table at the far left corner in a big L-shaped booth. I walked up to a homeless man on the corner of our block. I didn't have much, but I handed him a granola bar I had in my purse and sat down next to him for a moment as he ate it. He was assistant too. His files came up saying that he owned a printing press that went out of business late July of 2020 due to the modernization of the New York Library going strictly online. The facility housed audiobooks, a public theater, and rentable e-readers now. I talked to him for a moment about the journey through his homelessness. When I entered the cafe, Reeve, Audrey, Alex, Callie, and Calissa were already looking over the menu. I sat down next to Reeve, and his files loaded. A moment later, a message popped up, saying unregistered citizen. No data files available. That's strange, I thought, looking around the table. Alex's files came up just fine. I proceeded to see Callie and Kalia's files. They were normal. I fidgeted uncomfortably in my seat as I tried to think of possible reasons why Reeve's files didn't come up. He motioned to hold my hand, but I pulled away instinctively. He looked at me with a confused expression. What could I say? I didn't know what to say. Sorry, I told him tentatively. I've had the jitters since Alpha put me on new assignment. He tentatively motioned for my hand again. This time, I reluctantly let him slide his fingers between mine. It was weird not to like his fingers touching my own. What is wrong with me, I thought. It's just an error in the data chip. It's going to be fine, I told myself. But the longer I thought about it, the more the anxiety grew. Have I lost all feeling for human connection? I thought. The usual waiter, Amy, came to take our orders, and I ordered my usual Friday breakfast. 2 pancakes with famous creamy peanut butter syrup, a cinnamon roll, a spinach mushroom omelet on the side. We started to converse about our night at work, and Reeve asked me what was in the box that Alpha gave me. A mission assignment, Rest is classified, I replied, trying not to give him too much information. And that sweet watch, he asked, admiring it as I took a sip of water. Why didn't I just take the watch off? I moaned internally. He held my hand, examining the watch. Reeve and I finished eating, and he took me down to Central Park. We walked along the sidewalk for a while, until we sat down to watch the ducks. Kirsten, there's something I should tell you, Reeve started nervously. What is that? I asked. That you're an unregistered, I thought. I think we should seriously consider life together. I could give you a bright future here, he continued. You mean like marriage? I laughed. Why didn't you say so? Yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to say, he smiled. I don't know, Reeve. With this new assignment, Alpha's going to keep me pretty busy, I replied. It may not be the best time now. We're always busy with assignment, Reeve pointed out. I have plenty of savings to get us a nice-sized apartment. Enough room for kids, too. All right. That all sounds good, but I need to ask you something, Reeve, I commented. Are you a registered citizen? That's an odd question. Of course I am. It's the law, he answered. Reeve fidgeted around a bit with this statement. That makes me feel a whole lot better about your files, I breathed in relief. My files? How did you get my files? Reeve asked, bewildered. His eyes grew with concern. Alpha had me review some for him today, I replied quietly. All right. Well, what did you think was wrong with my files? Reeve asked. They're missing, I said, looking at him seriously. Reeve breathed heavily. My files are missing, he clarified. He didn't kiss me at the door like he usually did. I could sense that something was wrong, but I wasn't willing to let on to. My stomach tightened in knots. My thoughts filled with horror scenes of my predicted worst possible outcome. Reeve's an alien. All this time, and I didn't know that my own boyfriend was an alien. I thought. I walked back to the apartment, to my room, and let myself fall onto the bed in a heap. Knowing that I was alone, I let myself drift into sleep, as tears stung my warm face. How could I break the trust we had to build these past 3 years? I thought. "9 p.m. and my alarm went blaring. I moaned as I rolled off the bed groggily. I hit the floor with a loud thud. Burritoed in my blankets. The apartment felt hot. It was mid-July. Coming to my conscience, I let out a humph, as I thought that Taylor probably turned up the heat to an inferno supervolcano again while I was sleeping. Arriving at work, I passed Reeve, but ignored him. I couldn't bring myself to say anything after last night. Something was very wrong with him. Something was also pretty wrong with me. The person I had come to trust so much had become a stranger to me, and everything I knew. I knew everything about him, yet we didn't speak to each other. We were like strangers now. Reeve had walked a few paces down the hall before turning back to talk to me. Kirsten, let me talk to you after work, please. I don't think you understand, Reeve said. No, you don't understand, Reeve. You're in great danger. As long as I am with you, I am in danger too. Whether or not you're innocent, I pleaded with him as I struggled to suppress the emotion in my voice. Why are you so afraid of my missing files? Reeve asked, with teeth clenched with a bit of frustration. We're going to get arrested. You know that's the law, Reeve, I whispered intensely, getting a little up close and personal with him. Yes, but I really have to explain. Just meet me here later tonight, he begged as he strode off in his original direction. I didn't want to meet Reeve after work. I didn't even want to be at work knowing that something was either wrong with him or the data files that Reeve was still holding something back from me. I feared talking to Alpha. If Reeve really was an alien, they could sentence him to death. I felt numbness make its way through from my heart spreading its plague all through me. Then it hit me all at once like a crashing wave. I was afraid of losing him. I had lost so many friends before that he was the only special one that I felt comfortable giving access to my memories. He had my memory chip as a medallion of hope. He could analyze my memory from any computer. I wore his memory chip as a medallion of trust. He took a part of me with him as he briskly walked down the corridor alone. I stood there, watching him, breathlessly. I couldn't feel our connection. It was dead as my smartphone without service. It was over. As broken as my shattered phone screen when I had dropped it from the 6th floor elevator shaft last summer. Finally coming to myself, I entered the data storage floor. Very slowly, through the shift, an idea dawned on me. I could steal a business information chip to find out if Reeve had been working for anyone else. It wouldn't be as useful as a shapeshifter registry, but was highly classified under multiple codenames. Only Alpha would know where it was. And the chip could only be pulled from its storage compartment by his bioscan. I could steal a chip with practically any kind of information registry I wanted. Lifeform identifications, vehicle registry, active drivers, registered alien immigrants, or even the International Food Nutrition Index. But none of those interest me as much as this one did. Hey, Audrey, would it be crazy if I tried asking Alpha for the shapeshifter registry? And what would you want to do with that? Audrey asked, giving me a suspicious look while we continued away at filing the data chips. You know that chip is only available to the elite few in the mega elite circle. I know, but I just want to know. I stopped mid-sentence. I couldn't tell her that I suspected Reeve was up to something. I couldn't put that kind of bad taste on him. Never mind, it's classified above your clearance, I sighed. What in the world is classified above my clearance? Audrey asked, taken aback by my comment. I can't put you in harm's way to tell you, Audrey. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned it. After work, I didn't return to the corridors. I had enough confusion for one night. The last thing I wanted to do was run into Reeve again. I didn't want to face my fear that he was lying to me. Yet, the thought of him ran cold down my spine as I dug for my keys, leaving the building into the freezing air of dawn. Kirsten? Reeve said behind me. Reeve, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to have to turn you into Alpha. I want to believe you're innocent, but the law's the law. I have to report problems with your data. I have to tell you something really important, Kirsten. There's a reason you can't find my records. I'm not who you think I am. I'm an alien. I'm a Tristonian refugee. You lied to me? I shouted, turning to face him. I was protecting you, he said, looking at the ground. You should be ashamed. You put an entire nation at danger, Reeve. I growled at him angrily, between clenched teeth, raising my arms. Let me explain, please. I have lived alone in fear of who I was for years. You, of all people, should know what that feels like, Kirsten. You are an unregistered data chip engineer. That's why I'm able to trust you with this, Reeve said, looking at me. Reeve, this is different, I told him. I was unregistered because I had to be under Alpha's command 3 years ago. I'm actually registered with the elite FBI agent circle. But, Reeve, this is something else. I could be fired because of this, Reeve. He motioned to hold me in an embrace, but the only thing I could do, I started to run. It's what I had always done when trust was broken. This time, maybe forever. could I love someone and not know their true colors? One stomp after another, I channeled rejection through my feet. I was let down again and again. It was destined to destroy me from the inside out. Yet, feeling the fresh air pass me, I was reminded of the life Reeve and I had before I knew something was very wrong with him. The memories haunted me, flashing through my mind. Ghosts of my perfect past. I could hear Reeve running after me. I ran faster until I couldn't run any farther. There was a bus just a few yards away to pick up a load of 10 passengers. I ran into the bus. I watched from the windows as Reeve stood watching as the bus pulled away. I turned to sit down in my seat. Just when I thought that I found someone who understood me, I lost them. It happened like that every time, every single dang time. Fate had its way of getting in and screwing it all up. I angrily yanked his chip from my neck, snapping the cord in half as I tried. He wouldn't be able to cure my thoughts at will now. I wanted to melt the chip down to liquid glass and erase every single memory it stored, but that involved in throwing it into Mount Obliteration, an active volcano in a very top-secret location that reached temperatures of 1,000,000 degrees Fahrenheit. My phone started to ring. I dug it out of my bag. It was Reeve. I let it keep ringing. He couldn't fix this no matter what he did now. He betrayed me. But then it dawned on me. Reeve lost everything. He could be the last Tristonian left. Even though I had come to the conclusion that Reeve had shattered our relationship, I still loved him. I loved the goodness that I knew was still in there somewhere. Why should it matter if he was an alien? In many respects, I'm an alien too, I thought, as I got off the bus at the next stop and Reeve called again. Hello? I answered. Kirsten, I'm really sorry, Reeve said. I should have let you know the truth a long time ago. Reeve, I'm kind of an alien myself, I replied. I'm misunderstood like you are. You were kind of right in a way. I'm sorry that I disconnected our chips. Kirsten? He said, pausing for a moment. What? I asked. You're a chip engineer. We can get new chips. I'm more worried that you're all right. I read a book about humans going into shock of extraterrestrial life forms. I feared that I had shut down your processor. My what now? Your processor. Isn't that what you call it, right? He reiterated. My brain, I suggested. Yes, that's right. You didn't shut me down, but you did scare me a bit. Why didn't you tell me the truth to begin with? You could have really hurt someone. I wanted to, but I was afraid that you wouldn't accept the truth, Reeve said nervously. Reeve, the truth is that we can't hide what makes us who we are. I can't hide the fact that I'm a highly intelligent, trained FBI chip engineer any more that you can continue to hide and disguise your identity as a Tristonian refugee. At some point, we all have a hidden part of us, something that no one knows. It will alienate us from the world till we come to realize that there's great potential in the thing that makes us different. Ultimately, you will choose for yourself if your imperfection will make you unbreakable or an outcast alien. Depression will either make me tear apart from the inside or build me up as a phoenix from the ashes. Your upbringing will either haunt you or will make us stronger together. You have depression? He asked, surprised. Yeah. It can destroy even the best of us, I sighed, having a hard time admitting to it. I've struggled up and down for a long time, Reeve. It's a lonely road, an invisible battle that only one with pure evil could create. It stays that way until I remember that I am not alone, that there is an outside force not equal but opposite. But if ununited, we we cannot overcome it. The force of good has lifted me from all depths of imaginable suffering. Depression is darkness so dark that it's tangibly cold, a void filled with my echoing regret. It is a feeling that you're feeling everything and nothing all at once. It's a sensation that you are missing something. That something drives you to insanity until you find it. And when you do, finally find what was lost, it allows you to feel the glorious dawn again. You see, now that I accept the flaw within myself that has such a stigma attached to it, I'm open to others. Are you going to really accept your past? Or will you continue to suppress it, Reeve? The more you hide it, the more you try to cover it up, lie about it even, the more miserable you will become within yourself. I have a lot of work to do, Reeve said, looking at his feet. Then I'll be the one to take that first step with you. I'll be the one to follow and to let you know that we're in this together. No one will hear us if we do not speak. It's time to accept us, even the horrible parts of us, Reeve. That means that we have to be human. You now live in a human world. This will be new to you. However, if you agree to talk to Alpha tomorrow, I will let you turn yourself in. Your generosity is beyond your age, Reeve said, walking me back to my car. It's all about learning to let the suffering become strength and being humble enough to know when you can't go on alone, Reeve.